Hi, hello. Nobody look at the calendar. No one look at the calendar. But I am aware that we're now, by the time you're seeing this, we're probably past midway of January. I did try to make up for it by making the January prompt really easy. So I'm gonna, but yeah, okay, hold up. Hold up. One thing at a time. Welcome to another year of adventures in Aeldia, or year in Aeldia. This is the third year of us doing this, and it is a year-long reading challenge set up in a make-your-own-adventure type of format. With that in mind, this year's one is looking a little bit different from what you are used to. I really want it to be a little bit more visual, a little bit more colorful this year, and also I wanted it to look like a game. So you've seen it from the thumbnail, so I don't know why I'm dragging this out, but here's the reveal of how the board looks. If you're new to Magical Readathon and you have no clue what's going on, that's okay. There is a fairly old video now that normally acts like an introduction. I will link it down below as well so you can check that out, but basically it is a reading event where we band together and enjoy a fantasy element of a magical school called Orilium Academy, where we go to classes, we study subjects, and those subjects yield reading prompts. So basically it is a tool to gamify your reading. That's it, actually, that's the one. Because we keep expanding on the lore and add little events here and there, it might seem quite daunting to start. I know there's people who only do the yearly challenge, I know there's people who skip the yearly challenge. It is your game, you do what you want with it. I know people who do all of it. If you do want to just play the year-long challenge, it does only require one book per month. You do not even need to make a character. You can though, I would recommend it. You can play as yourself, just in a magic setting, and judge it by that. So if you are intimidated by the whole character creator, or just don't want to do it, you can just play along either way. You do not have to do anything but download this board and the story sheet, which I will talk about in later. You may recognize the general idea for this. It is loosely based on our world of Aeldia and the continents on it. This would represent Daerun, this is Carador, this is Dark Meadow, this is Etheria, and in the middle here, which is where we start, is the representation of Orilium. The file should be, large enough that you can easily zoom in if you cannot see it from the regular picture and read what is on the paths. As you do move through the board, I would encourage you just check out all of the little doodles that are around this. This entire board done by Logan, the resident artist here, because this is what I sent to him. Well, I was speaking to him, explaining what I have in mind. This is then what he returned, and this is then what I turned into the final board, but it would absolutely not be possible whatsoever without him. So let me just walk you through how to play it. Of course, in the G Drive, you will find the board of the adventures in Aeldia that you will need to check where you're going, as well as I want to say 8-page document, what we're just gonna call the story. The first page will also have details in case you forget throughout the year how it works, and don't actually need to read through the entire document because it goes month by month. So you just start with January, and by the end of the year you will be at the end of that document. So the first thing that you may notice about the board is it has paths that connect, as well as little circles that have numbers in them. The number corresponds to the number of the month. 1 is January, 4 is April, 9 is September. You get the gist. And you'll find that, if you are currently in April and you're standing on a number 2, then something's not quite right and you have maybe lost your way there. You, of course, can only go from the point that you decide to start at to a point where it connects with the path. As I mentioned, this requires one book per month, so you should never go from number 2 to number 2 and from number 7 to another number 7. You should always increase as you go. Every stop you make should increase in the number. We go this way, 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 this way is one of the ways to play it. I know that normally in these challenges we skip April and September for people who are participating in the regular month-long readathons. I have designed this board with 12 months in mind, even though I actually planned to not do that, but then by the point I realized that I have had done that, It was simply just too far gone. So as a compromise, if you are participating in the month-long readathons, I would say that it is okay to double up the book you're reading for this with one of your prompts that you need for that month. So your TBR for Spring Equinox, for example, may already have a book that you would also count for the adventure in Aeldia. It doesn't have to be a separate book for those months. And similarly to before, every book read for this challenge will earn you 10 guild reputation points, which you can spend in the Guild Emporium. Once you're on a certain point, you will only have a certain amount of choices of where you're actually going to go, because you can only move forward, and it should be hopefully very clear once you actually start. You will notice that the numbers also have a letter. This is a letter that simply corresponds to your choice. And so when you're going through the document, you want to find the number and letter combination in the prompt list to know what your prompt for the reading is. Let's talk a little bit about the story file. The story file will walk you month by month. You do not need to read throughout until the end. I would actually suggest not to, so it's a little bit more fun, which is also why I'm not going to go through all of the choices. There are near 60 of them in this file. So it would, one, take a ridiculously long time, and also two, I don't want to spoil the reading prompts and the choices. I want you to experience this yourself. But we are going to go through January and February just to kind of illustrate what is going on, especially since January is the only one that is a little bit different, because in January, the idea is that we start at Orilium. The point of January is to step out of Orilium and onto the board. So the prompt is the same for everyone, and you may have already fulfilled it, because we'll allow that, because I'm late with this. And the prompt is to celebrate 2025 and leave 2024 behind by reading a book published in 2024. So you may have already read a book that was published in 2024, which means that you are already on the board. And then you need to make a decision on which direction you want to go. This is where we're gonna go into February. So when you're moving from January to February, we're gonna start, let's say like we're gonna go south. So the text you're looking for is in between 1 and 2. We're working towards going to February slot. This is the path we would be working, or this, or this, or that, or this, you know. So if you look into February, pick a direction and work your way towards the number 2 spot. These prompts mainly correlate with your physical shelves and where the books are. And February still doesn't have much story to it, but as you go through the file, the story begins and you get a little bit more of small lore droplets. So if you decide to go towards 2B spot, then the prompt is west, book from the middle left side of the shelf. So if you have physical shelves, you would go towards the middle and the left. And speaking of this, if any prompts do not really work for you, I am happy for you to take initiative and swap it to whatever you like. If it's truly just not possible with your setup, maybe you don't have physical shelves, I'm sure there's a website that can, if you put like titles, it will make a shelf for you. Really, so many ways to go around this, but you also, if you can't be bothered, you can just swap to whatever prompt you want. I am not a game police, this is just for fun. And then you'll see that the March text is a little bit chunkier because we have a lot of mini sub choices. Talking about the key and how this is kind of formatted, the bolded text in the descriptions is the exact wordage that you'll find here, just so in case like it's difficult to read, or just so you're triple sure that you're in the right spot. The little additional story bits then will follow between brackets, and then lastly we'll have the actual reading prompt that is underlined. I'm hoping most of them will be clear, but if not, you can always ask in our Discord and people will be very, very happy to help. It is linked in the description bar. As per usual, I kind of think this is everything. This will be a much shorter announcement video, I think, than our usual ones. I am so excited to see your journeys. I'm actually really excited to do this myself. Excited to see which route you take and what story you get, what destination you end up at. Please let me know if you have any questions down below in the comments as well. I am happy to answer. I feel like I'm still just really trying to get back into the regular kind of programming in general in my life, so I might have forgotten something. But yeah, I think that's everything. Thank you so much. Have loads of fun. Happy 2025 again, and I hope that this yields at least a couple of really good reads. Thank you. Bye.